All right, and we're live. How you doing, brother?
Hey, pretty good, man. It's been a while. I hate to say it, dude, but for these people that are listening to us, that usually listen to us, I went up, decided I was gonna head out for the weekend, man, and I headed up north of the Red River. Spent some time with some friends of mine that went to high school with in a cabin up in Oklahoma, man. And I think I messed up my rotator cuff throwing a damn, a beanbag into a hole, wood in a hole, man. I did that all weekend, man. But we're making it, dude, and trying to, stay on Twitter and doing those things, man, and trying to keep up with work and all these other offers. But we really wanted to talk recruiting, talk about the offers that are going out, talk about, where there's smoke, there's fire. It seems like things are kind of heating up. And I think it all started with Armani Winfield, man. But you obviously don't want to forget about, Jaylon Gilbo, man, that's down there in the Port Arthur area. He's kind of stuck, with his commitment, through, the whole coaching staff. And I know there was thoughts of him maybe, changing or decommitting or looking around, and he may be doing that. Really started with Armani Winfield, man, during that national championship, committing damn near at halftime to, and then going out and getting Jaydon Blue, man, number, 2 running back in the nation, somewhere in between, number 5 running back in the nation, according to 247. And then it seems like maybe he may be the ringleader of this recruiting class, man, because he's definitely recruiting and these guys going in. But I think leading to really Malik Murphy, and we'll get into that a little bit. They're talking that quarterback piece. But your thoughts so far, man, with this recruiting class and where you think it could go?
Oh, I think the sky's the limit. Again, we've talked about it. They're recruiting coast to coast, throwing out a lot of offers. On the daily, you see a new kid say, "Hey, I was reoffered by the University of Texas," or "I was offered by, the University of Texas today." We were trying, right before we came on air, we were trying to pronounce the linebacker's name from California that just got reoffered today. High 4-star, potential 5-star. You want to give it a shot at his first name real quick?
Nwafa. Let me get back down to it here. Nwafa Tui Halamaka. So we're gonna call him Nwafi Tui until further notice, man. That's definitely difficult, man. But again, I think me and Jim were kind of talking about this whole recruiting situation before we got on this live here, and we were talking about Jose. Brings up a good point, man. He's talking about, recruiting statewide versus out of state recruiting. And it's kind of gets to a point where I don't think you're just going to go in here and grab in-state guys all the time. I mean, I think recruiting has turned into a national, into a national situation because, again, it comes down to developing these players and getting them to the next level. And I think a guy like Malik Murphy will open the door to a California, Sark having his ties there. And then really not that we were talking about Nui a while ago, this new inside linebacker offer. He has a close relationship with Jeff Choate. So these West Coast ties, man, are at this particular point are obviously making a difference. It just sucks that Malik Murphy's going to come down here supposedly this weekend and probably get the worst weather that we're probably going to have the entire year. With the temperatures the way they're going to be and probably ice on the ground and snowing and stuff. But I don't think that's going to change his mind. I don't think this kid would be coming here to Texas to come to the University of Texas if he really wasn't thinking about pulling the trigger on Texas. So got some, Jim?
Yeah, I got a couple things. Like you said, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, those are nationwide recruiting football teams. They don't stick to their state. So again, I think the search in California for a guy like Malik Murphy, who can bring possibly a CJ Williams and a guy like the linebacker Clint just talked about, and open up areas of the country where we know that they're good football players, such as Florida, California, Louisiana. These nationwide ties that these coaches have allowed them to open up doors in areas where I don't think the last administration could get. And I think you go for the best 25 football players. Again, me and Clint were talking just before we came on that this was a smaller class that we just brought to the 40 acres. There's still 4 or 5 scholarships available after the 21 class committed. Where are they going to use those scholarships? Because we were talking, what are roster management versus what's the best position group that 2022 has to offer? And we were just kind of going down the list. And I know he has an idea and I have an idea of where we think the highest potential to get the greatest number of kids at a position group is. And then is it beneficial for the football team if it's that position group? So you want to go ahead and talk about what we were talking about before?
Yeah, but again, as you're talking about it, I go back to thinking how difficult it is for us to come up with a position group that's not going to be strong if you go back and look at these offers. Now, all of a sudden, you got to kind of take off the burn on glasses and say, obviously, you're not going to get the first, second, and third, probably offensive tackle in the nation. But the thing that you threw your rope out there and said, hey, you know what? Hey, grab on, man. If you want to come with us, come with us. You don't jump on the train, jump on the train. But I think what's difficult is trying to pin down that position group that's going to be the best, because that's really the question we were talking about. And if I look at it, to me currently right now, and there may be two of them, but I feel more comfortable with the wide receivers. If you're telling me, hey, if you're looking at right now, what would be the best position group at the end of 2022? I'm going to say wide receivers based on my gut feeling on who I think we can get in a Coleman, in a Stewart, in a Winfield, and probably a Williams out of California who, some say that him and Malik Murphy want to play with each other. And you're talking about, I think that's like, if I go down the list of wide receivers here, you're talking about as far as rankings go, where I feel that we really have a shot. You're talking about, number 3, number 4, number 5, and then you already have number 12 in the class. And I think it's possible. But then you go back and look at linemen and you look at what Jaydon Blue's doing, and you're talking about Kelvin Banks and
my thunder. That was my position.
Okay, hey, I'll let you take it.
So Clint was talking about he don't think we can get the 1, 2, and 3, but if you give me one of those tackles, give me a Rice or Gibbons, and you package them with a Cam Dewberry, Devin Campbell, Kelvin Banks, which are 3 guys from Texas that I think are attainable. I think you get your most bang for your buck from that offensive line position. Like Clint said, maybe that wide receiver position is more attainable at this point. But I believe the most bang for the buck and the potential to be the best position group out of the 2022 class. Like I said, if you can line up a Devin Campbell from the interior line out of Arlington, Kelvin Banks, Cam Dewberry out of the Houston area, and then one of those tackles from Virginia, then you're looking at a dynamic class. And he has the recruiting rankings in there in front of him, but that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, Clint Stilling over here. But again, I think as far as, impact impact in this 2022 class, obviously offensive line, man, because we know that the 2021 class and what we signed, I think, 2 offensive linemen in the entire class, looking at graduate transfers in May on the offensive line. But yeah, obviously impact 2022, man, is obviously going to be offensive line. And you hope that they go out there and get the guys that they want to get. But as far as where I feel most comfortable right now with, as far as most commits, I would say definitely wide receiver. But it goes back to that roster management piece too, and how many wide receivers you're willing to take. So.
Right, and it's going right back to what we were going to talk about again. Is you kind of just said it, but the coach came out and said I have too many wide receivers on my roster. 15 is probably too many to have at one position group. But again, that's an area where they feel that there may be some attrition by lack of playing time, or now that we're not really doing the whole everybody gets a chance, rotating wide receivers in every other play, and you see guys going to the transfer portal, maybe so. But the coach said he has way too many wide receivers on the roster. And again, if he's truly looking at the roster management, most bang for your buck, I feel like he's probably looking at other positions other than wide receiver. But again, you're never going to turn down a top 100 kid in my mind. I didn't.
Yeah.
I kind of did because we talk. We don't script. There's nothing in front of us. Sometimes we take notes as the other one's talking. But we kind of talk about the ebb and flow. And sometimes Clint gets his rotator cuff let. Maybe taking some pain meds and just kept rolling. No, it's all good, dude. We kind of talk with the same mouth, same tongue. Like I don't care.
Jeremy basically
kind of maybe
slow your roll, brother. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah. But I think getting back to what you were saying, man, attrition is going to be something when you look at after really a spring ball, man, because unlike Herman, you're not going to see. I think the continuous rotations. There's certain positions that you rotate through. Defensive line being one of them. You have to rotate those guys out, man. to give him a blow, man. But I think you're going to see attrition from this team, man, because of I'm not saying you have talent, and you have depth at wide receiver, and you have a lot of guys, man. And if they don't get the playing time that they want, it's too easy for an individual to jump in the transfer portal, even if it's a spring, to try to land somewhere in the fall, in the summer, to be able to play on a team in fall. So I think you will see that. I think you're going to have to watch where the attrition goes because of the number of players that you did sign, the number of players that decided to enter decided to go to the NFL or already entered the transfer portal. So I think you'll have to really watch attrition when it comes to after spring practice, man. But somebody said take two talk about two quarterbacks. I don't see us taking two quarterbacks, man, because currently you pulled a 3-star from out of California that had multiple offers, I think, to some Ivy League schools.
LSU.
Yeah, and decided he's going to take a preferred walk-on spot here at Texas, man. As a California kid, it was a 3-star, which is pretty damn phenomenal, man. So I can tell you, whoever's working that preferred walk-on is doing a hell of a job, man, with the guys that they brought in from Austin Westlake, and then now this quarterback and then damn kicker that's been kicking 65-yard field goals on social media, and then obviously bringing a 3-star quarterback in. I don't see them taking two quarterbacks in this class. I hate to say it, but it's almost first come first serve at this particular point. I think Klubnik, if I'm not wrong, I think Klubnik was waiting for a Clemson offer. I think he was waiting on Clemson to offer him. But as of today, I believe that Ty Simpson had a crystal ball going to Clemson.
Yeah.
So he's a Texas A&M legacy.
Right.
They no longer have that quarterback position open up. It sounds like Malik Murphy may be silent to Texas. And then you have Ty Simpson that is going to Clemson. I just don't think there's a roster spot for Cade Klubnik if Malik Murphy takes one of these spots, man. Do I say you won't take him if two guys want to come in the same class? You're not going to say no. But I just don't see it happening with the number of quarterbacks you currently have in the room, man. With Thompson, Card, Wright, was it Lord? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Lord.
Four.
Yeah. And then Malik
I don't
Murphy,
know. Like I said, I don't think you ever turned down a top 100 guy. But again, it's all going to come down to roster management. And I think this group has a better idea of where they want to go and what they want their numbers to look like. Again, I believe they have a big board. I don't believe Tom Herman ever had a big board where he had his, current roster and he said, hey, this recruiting cycle, I'm going to go after, looked at recruiting cycles ahead and said, hey, this is a hot year for offensive linemen. I want to go after 4 offensive linemen this year because next year the ground's not as fertile. I don't think they ever did that with the previous administration. I think these guys, again, talking about attention to detail, went back and watched practice film and game film of every football player they have on their current roster. And now they have a good idea of what they have. They have a good idea of what 22 has, what they brought in 21, and what 22 they want to go after. So I think they're going to offer kids, but at a certain time, I think, would you call it under the Herman administration, committable offers?
Committable
offers. I think it's your first 25 who fit your board, man. I think they have an idea of what they want on each position group, and as they get guys to commit, they check them off. They keep guys, probably in and around, and keep talking to guys just in case somebody decommits or changes their mind. But I think they have a good idea of when they go into the 2022 season what they want at each position group, and it may be 1 or 2, but where would you give up where would you have the potential to give up one of those roster spots? Maybe it is a wide receiver. Maybe it is a running back. Maybe you think your running back depth is where you want it now with getting Jaydon Blue in the class. But yeah, I think these guys, this current administration has a good handle on where they want to go and how many they want to take, and look ahead to the 23, 24, and have a good idea of how to develop the roster long term versus I'm just going to snatch this guy and throw him on my roster and see where things go.
So Drake's asked Drake. So Drake, yeah, 84 people in here, man. If y'all wouldn't mind, hit that like button. We'd appreciate it. It helps, I think, with the way that YouTube works, man. Obviously the likes and the views and stuff will kind of push your stuff to the front, man. So if you really like it, man, hit that like button if you wouldn't mind. Drake Taplin asked a question, man. So the preferred walk-ons, is that the same thing as a scholarship? No, what it is, it gives it just really tells them that they have made the team as a walk-on, but they still have to pay their way as a student athlete at the University of Texas. So they're not given a scholarship. So these guys are coming. They had opportunities to go get scholarships from other places, and they turn those down to come to University of Texas, and are willing to pay their own way. So yeah, something to add to that.
And I think, they're just putting what they call a gray shirt status. Everybody's aware of what a red shirt is. Hey, I get a free year of eligibility if I don't play less than 4 games. These guys, I think, get a little bit more time because they're not scholarship players. But again, it shows the attention to detail. Like, you never heard the term preferred walk. I mean, you had heard it, but you didn't hear it with this particular football team. But these guys are worried, not only worried about their 85 depth and that big board that we're talking about, but they're getting depth from guys who are like Michael Taft and the running back Minor from Westlake that we got a chance to see in the state championship game, and kind of looked at them, talked to each other afterwards and said, where are these guys going? And come to find out, we got them on campus, because you got the defensive player of the game at 6A, the largest classification in Texas, defensive player of the year, and you don't even have them on scholarship. And that running back just blew by South Lake's defense on the first drive. And he's a phenomenal athlete coming from a great program who you're not having to spend a scholarship. So you're getting depth at 115, not just at 85. So just great all around. These guys, since they've been hired and brought here, have you could tell, been burning the midnight oil on trying to get the best football team they possibly can to 40 acres.
So John Munoz, he's talking about any names on who might take over for Brian Carrington. Man, I tell you, it's a loss, but I think it was a bigger loss with the last set of coaches than it is with this set of coaches. I think that Tom Herman and that group of coaches
had to have him
to get guys. I don't think that this coaching staff has to have a Brian Carrington to get their guys. Big difference, man. So I don't think you need to bring in a guy like Brian Carrington. I think you need to bring in a guy that understands roster management. I think you need to bring in a guy that really, at this particular point, I don't know if they need to have specific ties to Texas, because over the last week you brought in who was the head coach of the Lancaster Tigers down there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Gilbert to come in and be your the high school relations guy. So shit, that opened up doors in and around Texas, but really in the Dallas area, where Texas has really struggled in recruiting. So I don't think they have to have really ties, man. I'm looking for a guy that understands roster management, understands how to look at high school. We may have to have guys look at high school tape and bring the best guys in, man. So I just don't think it's as big as loss as it is a game maybe for USC. USC, you're bringing a guy that has Texas ties. Obviously, USC's recruiting Texas really, really hard now. They obviously got Todd Orlando and those defensive guys out there, man. And then obviously the offensive coordinator played at Texas Tech. So there's a lot of Texas ties, man, at USC right now. And you could tell because they're recruiting the shit out of it. They're grabbing our guys out of transfer portal. They're coming into Texas, grabbing some other guys. So, hey, you grab our guys, we're going to grab your guys from California, man. So that's the way it kind of looks right now, man. So it goes both ways. But I think he's more of a help to USC than he is more than it hurts the Texas program currently right now. So
I think
did he do great things?
Absolutely did. Absolutely did. He worked from coast to coast in the state. Had great relationships down in Houston, Austin, especially from his time at Houston. But I think you said it best. The last administration probably needed Brian Carrington a lot more from the lack of relationships that they were able to establish than the current one does. And like you said, he had ties to some of the staff members there at USC. So like you said, it's a net gain for USC. And I think with that, I think he got some kind of extra duties that probably brought him extra money. Because again, any recruiting coordinators want to eventually become analysts. Analysts want to become assistants. Assistants want to become coordinators, and coordinators want to be head coaches. So just working his way up. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. And USC got a great recruiting coordinator.
I think he actually is an on-field guy. I think he's not an on-field guy, but I think he went to be an offensive analyst. I think
that's what I'm saying.
So I don't even think he's in a recruiting role there, but I think he's but again, he has established that pipeline, or
That ability.
the ability to be able to do that. So I think they're trying to obviously mentor him and mold him into an on-field coach. That's one of the reasons he went there. He has recruiting ability. It's really just what he can do as a position coach moving forward. But definitely excited for him, man. Hey, definitely don't want to turn down an opportunity for promotion. It sounds like Brandon Harris just got a promotion too. He's now an offensive analyst, man. He went from assistant running back coach to an offensive analyst, and I can tell you he's been really good, man. His presence is really good. He's one of those guys like Brian Carrington, man, that recruits can relate to. I think that's important. Relate to and see him on social media, and I think he's one of the guys that's helped really bolster withstand Drake this running back room, man. I really do.
Yeah.
So,
and he's young. He's recently a quarterback at LSU. So he hadn't been away from the college game very, very long. So like the guys that we talked about that are young, like Blake Gideon, can relate to these players a little bit better because these guys may have got a chance when they were a little bit younger to see these guys in uniform. Exciting.
Got to read through these questions here, man.
Yeah,
comments. No, for Tommy, we want 2 running back in this class. You have Blue and Miller, most likely the running back class. Yeah, I was actually looking at that earlier. I was going through the running backs here, and it looks like Jamari Miller out of Tyler, Texas, number 18th running back in the nation, top 200.
Yeah.
That tells you how this Texas class is full of studs, man, this year, man. But 18th running back in the nation.
Well, you got to look. Is the kid from Spearman? Is he higher than Miller?
So he's actually considered an athlete. We're talking about Brendan Thompson.
Yeah.
He's an athlete. He's the number 7. He's ranked number 58 in the nation. Number 7 athlete, and number 10 in the state. Brendan Thompson, man, he's a burner, dude. I think I just read it yesterday. I think 10.32, 10.32.
So
100.
So Thompson's the higher rated player.
Yep.
Thompson over Miller. Okay.
Yep. 10.32, 100 meters, 21.51, 200 meters. It's funny because I was actually at Panera Bread today eating lunch. I'll go there, and there was a couple of high school kids because there's a local high school there, and they were actually eating lunch. And one of the kids, I guess he played football, and his little girlfriend he was talking to plays basketball, and he was talking about playing football, and I guess the coaches asked him to run track and stuff, and he was like, no, I don't need to do that. I'm planning on running track and stuff. And I kind of looked at him. I said, hey, I'm telling you, these football coaches now aren't looking for 40 speeds, man. They're not looking for how fast you can run, 18 back to 15, man. They're looking at guys that run track, and if you've got good track speed, man, it's verifiable. He looked at me, and then I picked up my stuff, and I went to threw my stuff in the trash, and I left. He didn't have a clue who I was, but he had burn orange. He had, I think he was Longhorn fan. He was talking about, I think he had gone to, he went to see the UTEP game, and he came here, obviously, went to San Antonio, went to see the Valero Alamo. So,
very cool.
Just wanted to let him know, hey, if you have an opportunity to run track, they're asking you to run track, man, go run track, dude. Very viable.
Explosive. Yeah, because the track's going to give you that explosiveness, off the blocks and that quick twitch, kind of like young number 6 had for Alabama. Get off the line quick, get out, get breakaway, get some separation, catch the football, and make plays.
It's like Johnny Munoz. Johnny Munoz, man, he's a track guy. Last time I thought Johnny Munoz was a track guy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he ran the 100 meters in high school. If I'm not mistaken,
he may have told us that. And I think he told us recently he tried to run a mile or something, or he was going to go after a mile. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Because you were talking about getting back on the road. We're
going to have to get confirmation from Johnny. We have to get confirmation. We have to get John. Yeah, Johnny will say he's fast. So I don't know how true that is. We'll have to verify his 40 time.
Yeah, I'd like to know if Dre's talking about in this current class, because no, we have a lot more than 2, brother. We have Bijan, Roshan, the transfer. Watson, we have Daniel Young coming back. Of course, coming into this class, Jonathan Brooks. So I think he's talking about two running backs in the 2022 class. No, we currently just have the one Jaydon Blue out of Klein Kane, who we have yet to do a commitment corner on, but we watched plenty of film on and need to get that back out to you guys. But as Clint said a little bit earlier, we were planning to put those out this weekend. But my man ran north of the border and threw out his shoulder playing, what'd you say, beanbag in a hole?
Yeah, beanbag in a wooden wood.
What is that? I can never think about
cornhole. It's cornhole, man. It's cornhole. Yeah, cornhole.
I can never
play that shit. I played that shit for 2.5 days, man, straight. In the middle of Broken Bow, Oklahoma. That's what it's called, Broken Bow, Oklahoma, in a nice cabin up there with 7 high school friends, man. 7 friends from high school. We decided to go up there and get a cabin together, man, and hang out for the weekend. Really, really cool place, man. Really, really cool place. So the Lando show's on here, man. He's another Texas Longhorn podcaster on YouTube. Y'all haven't checked him out. Y'all go ahead and check him out, man. He said he subbed up here, which is good. We appreciate you, man. We really do. So y'all go ahead and check out the Lando show when y'all get an opportunity, man. There's a lot of guys, man, out here doing content now. And it gets to a point where we need to have like 8 of us on a screen somewhere, having conversations maybe, before spring ball starts, man, and then getting into the football. We'll eventually get into, position battles and talk a little bit more spring ball as it gets closer to that quarterback competition and those things, off-season talk as we get closer to really spring football and so on and so forth, man. He said a 4.9. He said a 4.940, man.
That's quick.
He runs sub 5, man. That's damn good, dude.
Right.
That's good, man.
I'm impressed. I'm definitely impressed. Yeah. So let me go back. Clint shout out Lando show. Yeah, our channel is pretty new. Again, we started in late June, right before the football season started. And back then, I think it was just us and Fanatic Perspective. And both of us really, really watched RJ Young. And since our channel has come on air, you have Lando Show, Nino's Corner, Texas Homer, and of course, I think Platinum Platinum's
been doing it.
I think they were here before us, but I don't think they were doing as much content when we first started. But they really picked it up as the season drew to an end and recently. Yeah, it's exciting to see all the new content. We watch everybody's stuff, of course. So appreciate the market, kind of growing.
Hell yeah.
Like I said.
Puka's thoughts are Puka says we could get if we land Murphy, we could have a wide receiver core of Winfield, Stewart, CJ Williams, and I would almost put I'm not going to Coleman from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm not going to take him out of there, man. I just
no, definitely not. He's the highest ranked of the group, right? Is he? He's ahead of CJ Williams, if I'm not mistaken. And he's a different kind of receiver.
Yeah, Coleman
than
is.
CJ Williams. Yeah,
Coleman is.
Coleman and Brendan Thompson, I think, are similar. And they're a little smaller, a little lighter, slot receivers. But yeah, just that group is impressive. And again, we'll start to walk across the defense, like kind of what we're doing to the offense. Because we talked on quarterbacks tonight, we talked on running backs tonight, we talked on linemen for a little bit, and then we're talking wide receivers. So we may have to do our next slide to kind of focus on
the defense
the 2022 current offers on the 2022 side, on the defensive side of the ball. Because again, this I don't know. I think your defense is probably the strongest part of your team going in. Your head coach is now probably the premier offensive coordinator, taking a head coach job. But if you remember, the 21 class was pretty much primarily defense. So it's hard to say how many 2022 scholarships will be used on defense, but we'll see. Again, we signed a smaller class than what we normally would. It's currently, 20? With 17 that signed on early signing day, and then another 3 or 4 that signed on late signing day. So, and still 4 scholarships available, and attrition, like you said, there's going to be guys that transfer or enter the portal between now and spring, and then maybe spring and summer. So we'll see by the time the 22 class rolls around.
I think when you're looking at that, man, you're looking at the classes, you can almost go back to the way that Riley did things for the first couple of years as a head coach, which I think is definitely it's not where we want to be at. And that is creating an offensive juggernaut, but almost leaving your defense alone. And your defense really just is picking up the scraps with the rest of the scholarships. I think with having PK on board, man, it's a coach that's been there, a defensive coach that's been there a long time, understand what he wants. Obviously, Sark being a coach at multiple places, I just don't see us falling in that trap. But that's something to watch, man, because it does feel right now at this particular point, yeah, you see defensive offers go out there, but to me, it has that offense 2022 offensive juggernaut kind of feel, man, because you're of the offensive linemen that you've offered, the wide receivers that you currently offered. You offered a tight end. Now you're looking at getting a 5-star wide receiver. You've got your running back in there. So it feels like it's offensive driven. But I think, obviously PK with the defense he runs, he's definitely gonna, probably in Sark's ear saying, hey, these are the guys I need. These are the guys I want. These are in moving forward again. I think it's where you see that attrition at, man, because these aren't their players. Have they made an excuse like you've seen in the last group? Well, you're gonna have to give us time. Like 3 years in, you still got to give us some time. 4 years in, you still got to give us some time. No,
still work in progress. Work in progress.
I think he's owned. I think he's looked at the current players he has. And going forward, he's not going to make that excuse on why they're not playing well.
And I think that front seven's really, really young. If you think about it, Sweat, Broughton, Collins, Bimage, they're all young. And then you brought in a Jordan Thomas, you brought in a Byron Murphy, and then Abiara late in that class. And if you look across the linebacker core, you got Blackwell, Cooks, and Harris just this year. To kind of submit that linebacker core, and that they weren't a whole bunch of veterans when you're thinking about Hullaby and Ford and Overshone. I mean, Overshone's going to be a senior. Jawan Mitchell's going to be a senior, but a lot of depth and young depth in that front seven. So again, going back to roster management, try to figure out who the best 85 or what your current roster looks like, who you're going to lose to graduation in the NFL, who you possibly could lose to attrition such as transfer portal, and then just kind of use your scholarships in that sort of way. And again, you offer them and you start filling out your board. And as your board starts to lose players in certain positions, then you stop offering kids, man.
So I'm counting here, man. Out of the strong side defense or weak side, strong side, and tackles, we've offered. Or currently, I'm not sure if they're current offers or not. Obviously, they don't. I think 247 needs to, when you reset a class or you set the coaches in that class, I think they have to reset the board. And as you go forward, these guys are getting offered. I think you do it because I don't know who was offered by at this particular point. It's hard to tell who was offered by this new staff versus who was offered by that old staff. Right. So out of the 23 kids, man, between defensive tackle, strong side defensive end, and weak side defensive end, there's 23 guys they offered, and only 6 of those guys are from Texas. 6 of those guys are from Texas. Yeah. Obviously Malik Silva, Texas A&M commit. He's the only weak side defensive end from the state of Texas they've offered out of the 7 or 8 offers they've given out. Always obviously old Mario Bohr, strong side defensive end out of Duncanville, Texas. And Erdis Cooper out of Martin. That's another one to look at, man, out of Martin. Getting these Arlington Martin kids. He's another one. And then defensive tackle, obviously Barry Alexander committed to Georgia, but him and Christopher Ross and Dre Bledsoe are the only 3 Texas guys out of that defensive tackles that have been offered, man. So,
and thanks, Glenn. Glenn reminded me. I think we touched on the guys that they're essentially new to the program. The 2 transfers, and then Bimage coming back after sitting out last year. But Thornton from LSU, Agufo from Notre Dame, and then Bimage who sat out last year. And Omega, you've been around a long time on our show, and I appreciate a lot of your thoughts. But when you're talking about a kid like C.J. Williams, I don't know if anything. Sark's gonna scheme his system around his players. He said that before. So saying a kid's not a scheme fit for Sark's offense, I don't think is the answer. I think he'll put players in position to make plays the best they can. So I see you said that CJ doesn't fit Sark's system. I don't think Sark would offer him if he didn't think he fit his system, and he'll put that kid in a position to make plays.
Yeah, to me, his system was football on the opposite side of the ball.
Yeah.
Because he's going to change from RPO to a power spread to back to an RPO, back to a power spread to a damn West Coast offense to an air raid. He's going to steal the damn Kansas City Chiefs offense minus what happened during the Super Bowl. And people were actually talking about, the 4-2-5 being ran or the 2-4-5 being ran by Tampa Bay against Mahomes during the Super Bowl. That's that scheme that he runs. Same one that you see with Pete Kwiatkowski, which is really good. Lando Show brings up the 22 class has a really good shot at being beating the 2019 number 3 overall class. I'm not sure if that 19 class or the 18 class was the best class out of those two, but they were damn good classes. And I definitely think that this class has an opportunity to be in that same top 3, top 5 area, because again, that team out east is doing much better than they were doing in 2018, 2019 one. And they're going to be coming in here. They're obviously going to be playing the game too, man. But it's funny because I think Sarkisian was on the radio today, or he was doing an interview, and he said there's no reason we shouldn't be going toe to toe with recruits, with the likes of Alabama. There's no reason we shouldn't be going toe to toe in games with the likes of Alabama moving forward, man. And I love that mentality he's bringing, dude. It's not, woe is me. We're going to win the game by 3. If you win it by 3, it's good enough. Absolutely the hell not, man. Let's blow the doors off this joint. That's what I'm thinking at this particular point. So you had a thought there, man, or you read something?
I did. I did. So I don't know who to give credit to. These guys probably saw the same article I saw, but IT or 24/7, I don't know where I saw it, was talking about if the guys who are currently, where there's smoke, if they were to commit over the next couple of days, that the recruiting class would move from 13 to 3. If CJ Williams and Malik came along with another player, I think that they're really, I think Travell Johnson was the third. If Travell Johnson, Malik, and CJ committed in the next 2 weeks, our class would move from 13 to 3. And again, it's keeping the momentum going. And I love what you're talking about. Sark is out there. Sark is challenging. He's not going to be that guy on Monday that talks about a good Sunday practice. He's not going to be the guy on Monday looking for scapegoats, whether it be players or assistant coaches. He's going to own it. Like I said, he's already said we got to be the best developmental staff in the country. We need to bring the players here, like you're saying. We need to be able to recruit with those guys like Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama, and Georgia. But then once we get them there, that's when our work really starts. And we've always talked about it. Coaching is 3 facets. We got to pick the right guys. We got to develop the right guys. And we got to make sure we play them on game day. And then ultimately that gets them to the NFL. And then it's a juggernaut. It keeps growing on itself. Momentum continues to grow. Players continue to want to come here. And I get 247 put out a story that the feeling's already different around the program. The media can sense that the program is different. So if the media senses that the current players do, the past players do, and these recruits are feeling it as well.
Omega, don't worry about Malik's numbers, man. Worry about Sark in developing this kid, man. I'm telling you, you have a 5-star quarterback. And again, I was looking at boards and I'm thinking, oh my God, Texas fans are literally complaining about a 5-star that may commit over the next weekend. And I'm thinking, good Lord, what else could we find something to complain about? Dude, you got a 5-star where multiple guys have been doing this recruiting thing for a long time. They're saying this guy's got an elite arm. He's the elite arm. He's the elite arm. Dude, he is like 16 years old.
Yeah.
And he hadn't got to play a lot of football because unfortunately COVID has not allowed him to play football. But if you have an elite arm, you have an elite arm. I'm pretty sure that if Sark didn't think he could develop this guy into a football player, he wouldn't be a take.
6'4", 235. And I've already talked about his arm on here. Hope he commits so we can break down his film. Again, just because California didn't play contact football doesn't mean that Malik Murphy took the year off. Malik Murphy's been at camps. He's been doing his thing. He's been spinning the ball. If anything, it probably took another year of wear and tear off his body. Because that right arm still works, man. And again, he's 6'4", 235, a 5-star. No complaints from me. Get in the program. Again, with the most premier quarterback guru who's handled Palmer, who's handled Matt Leinart, who's handled Tua, who's handled
Hurts.
Thank you, Jalen Hurts. I'll take my chances. Give me the talent. I know it's going to develop him. Yeah, that Glenn Keller, I saw that 74-yarder too. It was on the run too. He's kind of moving to his left, rolling out to his left, but he let that ball go. So, yeah, I've looked at his film. You guys know what I thought about Quinn Ewers when we first reviewed his film, and he originally committed to Texas. But I think this kid has just as much upside. Again, I don't think you're missing out on anything if you get him or Klubnik, or again, we're not going to talk about guys who committed to other places. But if you were to get one of those three, I think your program's in a very good position going forward.
Yeah, can someone confirm if this is true? Maybe it's talking about, can someone confirm this is true that Tom Marford, Texas legacy, James Brockmeyer preferred walk-on spot? I don't know. You read what you read. Hell, I can't confirm anything unless I'm in the room, a fly on the wall. But it's a damn shame if you did something like that. It's a damn shame if you did something like that. We did talk about James Brockmeyer a little bit. We did a podcast on the sky's not falling when we lost the Brockmeyers because you had someone. A recent commit from that previous class that came in that currently is playing center for you, Jake Majors. Would James Brockmeyer have been a big loss to Texas as a take in that year? Absolutely not. But the problem is when you got a 5-star offense tackle on his brother, you might want to find a damn scholarship for him.
Makes sense to me.
You know, so that's water on the bridge. That's the past. All we can do is move forward. Tom Herman's not here anymore, and it seems like we're offering every damn body. So, but Jake Scott said Quinn Ewers throws picks in big game. He threw one to a guy that's now preferred walk on to the University of Texas in a big game. So again, you can't take a lot of these stats. Again, is the arm talent there? Can the dude throw from one side of the football field to the other? Is the most important thing. The only thing that game time is not getting you is looks at defenses. That's it. Because 7-on-7 is definitely different than playing 11-on-11 and defense coordinators out there trying to scheme you. 7-on-7 actually will tell you if a guy can throw a freaking a ball to a football player with no space, really, because everything's one-on-one there. Tight windows. Tight windows. So. Again, I just didn't understand it last night. I actually had to get off one of the sites last night because I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe where woe is me over a 5-star damn quarterback. Malik Murphy, if you're listening to this podcast, dude, come on. We want you on 40 acres, all right, man? And I'm sorry that, hey, you're coming in on a weekend where we're going to have the shittiest weather that we could possibly have. So you're welcome to the 40 acres. Pack your bags. Hell, I'll meet you at the airport, pick you up, and drive you wherever you need to go. All right?
Yeah. Commit, right? Come on the show. Come on the show.
Right. Yeah. Commit, then come on the show. How about that? All right. Okay. All right.
Who has a stronger arm, Malik Murphy or Clint? I would have said Clint prior to his trip to Oklahoma, but now he's torn his rotator cuff. I would say Malik probably by about a good 55 yards.
Yeah.
How far can you throw a football? About a good 35 yards?
Yeah.
Probably
35 yards. Okay. I could throw a baseball. Fast. I mean, baseball probably. 25 miles an hour, somewhere around there.
Oh. No. I can throw a baseball harder than you, but I don't know if I can throw a football farther than you.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got here? Somebody says he's leaving us to go eat dinner. Awesome. Thanks for coming, James.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, if y'all haven't subscribed, man, I got 109 people on here. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit that like button. If you dislike it, hit that dislike button. Just like the gentleman did there for us. We appreciate that too as well. Give us a view and give us a dislike. Means a lot to us. But hey, if you don't mind hitting that like button with 107 people on here, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel. We know things have kind of gone slow at this particular point. But as the season starts moving forward, inch by inch, me and Jim are going to definitely get busy again. So
I'm going to shout out somebody who I don't know we've seen before, Ricky Haley. If y'all get a chance to watch 6-man football game, watch it. Pretty much all offense. Sorry, this is not the subject. Just wanted to interject. Ricky, we come from we got family in a small town called Gustine, Texas, who currently plays 6-man football. We had a cousin who played 6-man football for Mullen High School, which is a little bit northwest of me. But yeah, we've seen 6-man football. Everybody's eligible, including the center. Got a chance to watch a couple of those games at the state playoffs. He also says watch other shows, but to me, you guys are the best.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Absolutely appreciate you, man. Nephew, I believe Johnny Munoz he was on here earlier. He was on here, and I'm not sure. Hopefully he's not here if he's driving home from work. Hopefully he's not. He was at work. Hopefully he's not on here. And if he is, he needs to have that thing down, playing through his car, not paying attention or messaging it on here. But he might be on his way home if he's not already not at home. I'm not sure. I'm locked in this room here, but yeah, much props to him though. Last time, man, he watches every show now. So yeah. He actually painted me a nice Longhorn picture over here. I'll show you on the next show. He painted me a Longhorn. And it got TFT down the bottom, Texas Football Talk on it. So he's all about Texas Football Talk. He's all about the Longhorns, man. And we're hoping we can go see a spring game this year to start off with, man. That'd be nice.
Yeah, if it wasn't so doggone cold, I'd probably drive up to Stephenville this weekend to watch Stephenville versus McNeese State. I guess they're allowing fans up there in Stephenville. But doggone it, it's high of 15 and low of 9. I don't think.
Absolutely the hell not. No.
Because again, I didn't get to go deer hunting Thanksgiving. I didn't get to go deer hunting and for Christmas, and I got invited to one of those land spots where they are allowed to take deer until late February. A conservatorship, not exactly sure what it's called, but and lo and behold, I'm not going to get to do that either because I can't stomach 15 degrees. That's just not me.
Sorry, basketball guy on here, Jeff C, man, 13.
Love Jeff C.
He loves talking basketball, Longhorn basketball. You guys think Sims, Coleman, and Jones return?
Yeah, I think Jones has multiple years of eligibility left. I just don't know if he can get. Okay, I'll talk Sims first. Sims should come back. Sims is really, really close to being draftable. You just got to get more certain. Coleman, I don't know that Matt Coleman, if he took an extra year of eligibility, would be draftable, but he may take advantage of that extra year or that free year of eligibility. And then Andrew Jones has, from where he was with leukemia diagnosis to where he is now, leading the team in scoring and continue to get better and better each and every week. I still don't think his body is exactly where he wants it to be, or he's ready for that program. I think he needs to add more weight. Again, leukemia kind of beat him up, probably caused him to drop 40, 50 pounds. But his game is getting better and better by the game. So I would love to see all three come back and take advantage of that year.
I can't disagree. I just because of basketball and the number of spots you have on a basketball team, to me, it limits how many people can leave to go to a development league. It's unless you want to go to Europe. There's obviously a lot of options when it comes to basketball. To me, I see these guys coming back for another year. There's no reason for them not to return. And I think if you look at the roster right now, I want to say last year, and I can go look it up real quick, but I'm pretty last year, there wasn't a lot of guys that were recruited. Coming
in this year? There's 4.
Yeah. I think last year though, if I go back and look at last year's numbers, there's not and I probably should keep up with this better on the basketball side. And I apologize about that, Jesse, but basketball recruiting in the 2000 commitments. Johnny's
talking about our basketball team playing with no confidence like they did earlier and almost blew against Kansas State. Johnny, at that point, when you haven't practiced for 19 straight days together, you lost your coach for 2 or 3 weeks. I'll give you an alibi against Baylor. Again, Baylor hit every shot in that game. They are a dynamic basketball team. The loss to Oklahoma State on the road should have won that basketball game and shot horrendously. But at this point, when I'm trying to maintain that 13 ranking and try to stay in that top 4 bubble of seeds, I'll take that concept on RBB 104.9, the triple option today. We're talking about there's no, and when the NCAA looks at your record, they look at quality wins. They don't look at terrible wins. That's not something they look at. So Yeah, I'll take my win against Kansas State, and I'll try to get better for the next game. Again, they got a juggernaut of a schedule coming back up. West Virginia again, Texas Tech on the road. So they better get it figured out real quick. You're right. But I'll take my win and keep pushing for Saturday.
Yeah, Johnny Munoz, I was actually looking at it. You know, the 2019 class had Will Baker, Kai Jones, and Donovan Williams. 2020 class only had Greg Brown. That's it. Yeah.
But no, let's talk about in this class. These 4 scholarships that they're going to come in next year for the 2021 class. I think it's 4 dudes, or maybe 3, but I think
it's 4. Tamar Bates from IMG, Marion Ellis, Assumption, David Joplin from Wisconsin, the other guys from Iowa, and then Kian. I'll probably jack his last name up. Jerry from Raleigh, North Carolina, man. So you do got 4 guys that are signed.
About the jump. Will Baker transferred. Gerald Liddell transferred.
Yep.
And so you only got to find 2 roster spots. There may be a couple of the not the walk-ons, but the guys at the end, the 13th, 14th guy, 15th guy that you don't see, may try to go somewhere else to play.
It's actually funny we're talking basketball because me and a really close friend of mine I was actually spending the weekend with, huge Duke fan, and we were having this conversation. I'm like, dude, what's going on with Duke? He said the one and dones, man, the one and dones. And if you look at it, the Kentuckys, Dukes, the Kansas, the North Carolinas, the Kansases, and these one and dones, man. And he said the problem is if you get all these one and dones in these classes, and it's hard to turn them down, right? The problem is you don't have any role players that aren't one and dones. So when you lose everybody, you lose everybody.
Too. Yeah.
And that's when we were looking at the roster this weekend, the Texas roster this weekend. He's like, dude, you got a whole bunch of role players, and then you bring a guy in like Greg Brown, who's a one and done guy, right? And everybody else has been there for 2, 3, 4 years in the program. That's what you're looking for in college programs, right? Because if you look at Gonzaga's made up of all those guys.
European guys who hang around for 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to talk basketball. Baseball's about to pop back up. Softball's about to jump. Volleyball's number 2. I think baseball's number 9. Softball's 7 or 8. So all top 10 teams for spring sports that hopefully we get a chance to talk about when football is kind of hitting its off season and we're getting ready for next year. But yeah, those kids got to gel too. Like when you're bringing in one and done, it's like the moment they get on, and that may have hurt them too. Like the lack of practice time because of COVID, that those freshmen would have got a chance to gel. They didn't have that this year. So that experience, guys, like the Texas backboard is probably as experiences as I've ever seen it with Ramey and then Coleman and Jones.
So Glenn Keller asked a good question, man. I'll be honest, just started watching Texas basketball this year. In y'all's opinion, all these fouls, is it us being aggressive and making mistakes, or ref being jackasses? So I can tell you it's probably both. And the reason is because Shaka Smart's teams play aggressive. That's why a team like Virginia Commonwealth beats like a team like Duke, pressuring the shit out of them in the Sweet 16 of the tournament. But I think at the same time, you feel like there's a whole bunch of ticky-tacky fouls. It feels like if you watch the Super Bowl, it felt like the first half of the Super Bowl, like literally the Chiefs couldn't touch a wide receiver from the from the damn I'm thinking Patriots, but from Tampa Bay. But the problem is that wide receivers can push off of cornerbacks, man. So to me, some of them are ticky-tacky fouls, man. But the way that Shaka Smart's team play, they're aggressive. They're aggressive. Usually full court press teams, and so.
And I think he could do that because he has athletes like with Brown and Kai Jones and Donovan Williams. His interior, but those long athletic forwards or wing players, he can afford to get aggressive because he has the depth. He can play 9, 10 guys. You know, if you count Febris and Hepa and Cunningham and those guys, you're 10 deep. So you don't have to worry about foul trouble. Where you got in trouble is when you had COVID. And what was 10 deep is now 6 deep. And against Oklahoma was ticky-tack heaven. And basically the referees cost us that game within the first 4 minutes of the second half. So, I don't like the Big 12. has always been a league where you could have a little contact in the lane and on the outside. But it seems like this year you can't touch anybody without the whistle being blown and a foul being called.
Well, Johnny Munoz said it best, dude. You got to push. Refs need to put their whistles in the transfer portal. Jesus.
It's bad. It's really bad. Because West Virginia and Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas are known for having, even Kansas State and Iowa State, big, wide teams who put their body on you in the paint. And like I said, this year it's kind of been taken away. And I think it's because people are relying on the three-pointer a lot and don't play that inside-outside game. That referees a lot of times don't get a chance to see it. They pass around the perimeter and somebody shoots a three and then somebody makes a rebound and they're off to the other end. Whereas when over the last 10 years, it's when you had centers like Mo Bamba and Jared Allen and LaMarcus Aldridge, where you dump the ball in the post and then they'd kick it back out for a three. But it's like post players don't even get a chance to touch the ball.
I think where I get frustrated is you see winning teams make free throws, man. And if you can't shoot free throws down the line, then going into tournament play, you're going to have a hard time, dude. Especially if they're going to call fouls on you in the damn bonus, and that's calling fouls on the other team as well. And you're in the bonus before the damn 8-minute mark of the freaking first half, and you're at the free throw line for 40, 50 free throws, and you can't make 50% of them.
And that's what tells me this team can get it back on track, because you shot 1 for 7 from the line, you shot 5 for 35 from 3, and you still took Oklahoma State on the road to overtime. And you blew Kansas out by 25. When you were winning the Maui Invitational, you were beating good teams by margins. Like, you just don't lose that overnight. So, like I said, I think it was that 19 days where they kind of fell out of practice. I think they can get it back, but they better get it back in a damn hurry, because, like I said, they got Texas Tech, West Virginia, Baylor again, and Kansas again. It's not going to get easier. So
I'm asking listeners.
Figure it out real quick.
I want to ask the listeners on here that watch basketball, how many teams are going to be in the tournament in March?
From the Big 12?
Is it going to be a full 64?
Oh, that is a good question.
16, 32, or 64, or what is it, 68? I think now.
Yeah, 68 with playing games.
I'd like to know, because I may or may not have made a bet that I'm probably not going to win at this particular point.
No, because I don't know what you bet, but I would say if they were going to change we know it's all in Indianapolis, just like the women's tournament is all in San Antonio. I didn't know if you knew that, but yeah, it's going to be in San Antonio. But I think if they were going to change the format of the tournament, they would let teams know a long time ago, in my opinion.
Matthew Miller said they announced today at 68, and I quit because I lost a damn bet. I could have sworn that I don't know how they're going to fit 68 teams in Indianapolis, Indiana. I really don't. I can understand it if you're an NBA team and you're playing in Orlando, Florida. For those that have been to Disney World, there's enough resorts around there to give a damn team their own resort. Because wasn't nobody going to Disney World at the time anyway, and then you're playing all your games there, and you got buses and all this other stuff on in Disney World. I just don't know how you get 68 teams in Indianapolis, Indiana. I can't picture it.
Well, you're not going to
picture it.
So what I think is going to have to happen is the NCAA is going to have to basically rent out 2 or 3 hotels. They're going to have a team per floor, essentially. Unless they're not playing, they're probably sequestered to that floor of that building. But again, I think if you cut it down to, you're losing weekends of a tournament, right? So 68 teams last year had 4 weekends. 32 would allow you to have subsequently less, 16 even less. And I think money, you still got that television contract, that's important. So yeah, similar to a Major League Baseball bubble. It's going to have to be a bubble format where they stay in the hotel, they get bused to the stadium, they play the ball game, they get bused back down, and then they're quarantined. Like, I don't think they're coming back to Austin. I don't think that they're going to be able to go back to when they're not playing during that what would be a work week. I don't think they're coming back to Austin and going back to Indiana. I think they're stuck there for the duration of the tournament. Because, again, you don't want these guys going through airports and back on campus and then doing that. But I think Texas has dealt with the worst of it. with this midseason struggle they had and losing 4 or 5 dudes at one time. But we'll see. Sorry you lost your bet, though, bro.
Yeah, I'm just sticking to the fact that I lost my bet at this particular point.
Damn.
It was a bag of Whataburger with a little bit of extra stuff in there. You know what I'm saying?
Texas Platinum joined the show.
Guess I'll get over here and Venmo the money after I get off of here. It'll break the news to the wife. She's gonna be excited about this. So,
right. Texas Platinum joined the show. We talked about you guys a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Appreciate you joining us, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Man, I ain't seen Cody Phillips on here in a while, man. I don't think.
Man, Cody Phillips. There's no stats to be given right now.
That is true. There is no stats, man. But, we appreciate you guys listening to us as always, man. We really, really, really do. I know we're kind of hit or miss at this particular point on which day we're going to do it and not do it. And damn, Texas Platinum just threw a
$4.99 super chat. Really appreciate you guys
chat on there, man. We appreciate you, dude. We really, really do, man.
Appreciate the work you guys do.
Absolutely.
You guys have an excellent podcast.
Dave Williams said, "Thou shalt not gamble," and I usually don't gamble. David, man, I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada for 3 years, and rarely did I ever lose any money because I didn't bet any money. And the only time I ever went to a casino was when friends decided they wanted to come in town, and I didn't have an option but to take them. But damn, dude, yeah, it wasn't that bad. I don't feel that bad because it wasn't that bad. But at the same time, I just didn't think there were going to be 6 to 8 teams. I figured they would push those teams down a little bit. But yeah, actually,
like I said, I just think that had to have been a decision they would have had to have settled on before the season started. Because once conference play got started, and now something that you may see and that we've heard of is, and these guys may be able to tell us if that's been decided either, is conference tournaments, are they going to be held? Or are they not going to be held? Is that going to be a conference only decision? But I wouldn't be surprised to see that go away. Just let your regular season champion. Actually, it'd be all at-large bids for the tournament. Essentially, you wouldn't have any if there was no conference champions as far as tournaments. Then they'd be all at-large. You just seed them and let them go.
Yeah, Dom got on here. He's prayers for Stephen Noddy's mom. I know he's up there. I think he's traveled up. I think to back up to the East Coast, take care of his mom. Yeah, obviously prayers for him and his family and his mom are with us. His thoughts, our thoughts and prayers are with them definitely. He's one of the first people I started watching. Really cover Texas Longhorn football on YouTube. Outside of obviously RJ Young. Who was more than just talking shit usually about Texas when we were watching them, but you had to get your content somewhere. And I can tell you from that perspective was one of the first ones we've ever watched, man. So yeah, thoughts and prayers for Steven's mom, man. So
and he still puts out he's still with that, and he's still putting out content. He did a Brian Carrington video yesterday, so he's still steadily working. Again, the godfather of Texas YouTube. I appreciate his channel. Again, Texas Platinum, Texas Homer, Nino's Corner, all the guys, Orlando, all these guys that are creating content. Because like we said, when we started in June, it was just us and them. So it's good that when we have a couple of days that we sit out, there's somebody else doing a show or two that we can watch and enjoy. And we try to not have, because we were going to go last night, but we're not going to go during the Texas basketball game. Unfortunately, Texas women. We're going tonight, so we didn't get a chance to watch that game. But it looks like Ricky said they beat Oklahoma State tonight in women's basketball. So, yeah, and when spring sports starts, it's going to be a game every night on the Longhorn Network, whether it's baseball, softball, or volleyball. So it's going to be hard to work around Texas ball games. But yeah, really continue doing what we're doing. Again, probably 7 months old now at this point. Continue to try to put out content. Again, we have 2 shows that are on our board right now. They are Armani Winfield Commitment Corner, Jaydon Blue Commitment Corner. Hopefully we'll get some commitments this weekend so we can put some more stuff together. Maybe do another live this weekend. But what are your thoughts, Clint?
That's it, man. That's it. It's past my bedtime at this particular point, 9:05. I don't go to bed quite yet, but pretty damn close, man. But we appreciate y'all listening as always. If you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button. You know, Jesse 13, can you guys link up with Steve for the spring game? Absolutely. I would love to get up there, man, and link up with Steve and Tran at the spring game, and maybe talk a little Texas, football and live from a somewhere in the venue, tailgate location somewhere. Yeah, absolutely, man. I'd definitely be excited about that. Hopefully we get a spring football game, going forward. But hey, if you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button. We appreciate you listening as always. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you haven't told someone about us, tell someone about us. We'd appreciate it. I think we're about 90 or so, subscribers from 2000, which is a big number for us. I didn't think we would ever get to that point at all, like 0 when we started this thing. But it's because of people like you and those that, follow us on Twitter and follow us on Facebook and so on and so forth. But hey, we appreciate you as always, man. We'll say good night to this one. Y'all have a good night and hook 'em.
Hook 'em.